Here, Antoine Backside, thank you, from Saint-Gobain, to serve this workshop as a resource person, basically together with my colleague, Jane. So green skills basically is, you say, if we look for solution, we will for sure find them. Yeah.
Good afternoon, welcome. My name's Jane Dowsett from Treehouse. We're a design thinking agency working with customers to use design thinking to come up with innovative ideas to some of the world's tricky problems. And today we're going to focus on the green economy, some of the greening issues, and give you the chance to talk with colleagues, perhaps from other countries, perhaps from other sectors, and just spend the next hour or so putting some design thinking tools into practice, focusing on some of the green issues that we face today. So this should be fun for you, give you a chance to talk. Nobody is going to be right or wrong for this because it's about your ideas. So please, feel free to be as imaginative and as creative as you'd like to be. In the whole ethos of the WorldSkills conference, we thought this was sort of two things. One, it's giving you a taste of a skill. It may be a skill that you already use in your organization. If so, that's great because you can be a little bit of an expert on your table. If you know absolutely nothing about design thinking, we're going to step you through each stage very, very quickly to give you that taste. So if you're an expert, great. If you know nothing, then hopefully you'll learn a new skill this afternoon. So just a little bit from me about what design thinking is and where it's come from. A company called IDEO have done an awful lot of work in this field, and a lot of their material is available on their website. So they're a great source of tools and techniques if you did want to follow up afterwards. And their definition is about using design thinking to accelerate innovation. And the whole essence of it is that we put the person back in the middle of the problem. So we start our ideas from what is it that the person faces on a day-to-day basis, and then we apply the design thinking approach to solve that problem. So it's about trying to use some creative tools, perhaps a bit of storytelling, some tools about idea generation. So lots of the tools are from other disciplines, are just brought together to focus on that problem. I think the essence is that we start with what's desirable. We start with either what problem can we solve, what ideas have we got to solve that problem. We don't start with the feasibility or the viability, that comes second. So my background was in big IT company, there's always that temptation to find the product first and then try and convince your marketplace that it's a good idea. And this is about thinking what does your user need and then thinking about what's feasible and what's viable. Obviously, all three have to come together to make the product or the service work in the marketplace. But if we put the desirability first, then we can really help solve some of the issues and problems that our employees face. So the design thinking framework is about focusing on a challenge. So our challenge today is about the green economy. It's then about trying to observe people that are experiencing that problem. Now, obviously today we can't go out and observe people doing their jobs in the real world. So this observation will be you talking to each other about examples of the problem. And from those observations, we form insights. We then try and look at the opportunities those insights might throw up, generate ideas, and then the essence is to then experiment and prototype quickly, so that the whole process might take about 12 weeks, and it is okay to fail. So again, the keynote speaker today encouraged us to think about risk, taking risk, and being prepared to fail quickly. So by taking this design thinking approach, not all ideas will go all the way around, and that doesn't matter. Just going to share with you one really nice example. This example is as a TED talk by a guy called Doug Dietz, who worked at GE, and he did work on the latest CT scanner. And he was actually very pleased with the work that his organisation had done, and he visited several hospitals to want to look at the CT scanner in operation. And he was very dejected when he saw specifically children coming to the hospital to go through the scanner, how frightened they were about the process, and how a high proportion of them had to actually be sedated because of the fear of going through the machine. And that inspired him to get together a group of people a bit like us today, but from different disciplines, so health workers, teachers, parents, children, to actually truly understand what was the process, what was going on, what were the fears and concerns, and how they might try and make it better. And he came up with the Adventure series. So one of the things he found in talking to the children and their families, that children that came to the hospitals regularly, a lot of the normal activities that their brothers and sisters were doing, they didn't have time to do, or they didn't have the energy to do. So some of the fun had gone out of what should be part of children's lives. So he created like a pirate theme for the scanner. So it wasn't just painting things on the wall. The staff dressed in pirate outfits. They made the anchor sound link to the noise of the scanner. And they also sent children storybooks before they came, perhaps Treasure Island or Peter Pan, to try and build in the theme. And what they found was that some children began to look forward to coming to the hospital. Their regular treatments were no longer something they feared. And also that the sedation rates went down, which had cost implications for the hospital. So the benefits were both for the children themselves and for the hospital situation. So this is a really great TED Talk. He's quite emotional, so if you want to look it up afterwards, it really brings to life the whole design thinking process and how it can actually change things at very different levels. So what we're going to do today is a really quick run through, and my two lovely helpers are going to come and sit with you to try and encourage you to keep on track. And we're going to step through that design thinking process, and we're going to focus on the green economy as our issue. So we're going to try and help keep you on time. We're going to ask you to put your thoughts and ideas on either on sticky post-it notes and then up on the flip charts, so that we'll build your step through the process, and we'll photograph your end output to submit to WorldSkills. So your idea will be captured at the end. Your last sort of flip chart page will be there as a memory of your great ideas today. So we'll have some fun. Hopefully you'll have a chance to talk to each other, and you may have some contacts that if you want to build on in the future, you'll have thought about some ideas together as your starting point for today. So first of all, we're going to spend 15 minutes on your tables just focusing on the challenge. And I think I might ask the two tables at the back to join together, if that's okay, so that we're two groups of about 6 to 8 people. And I think it might be easier than being just sort of a pair. You have a more fruitful conversation together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How do we think you can do it?
Maybe we should take this space and this space?
Yes, yeah, so...
Okay, may I ask some colleagues partners, please, this area as one area? And
Yeah. Perfect.
Would you like to move here on that side, so we could have two spaces? We can also do it according to your feeling for the shot here. So you can use this move or that.
But we'll not do this.
No, but we will.
Yeah, we can adapt the sector heading. I think this sector heading will keep because we've already got a quorum. So this one is social and personal services, but we'll adapt the other one to try and make something relevant for all of you. So anybody else that wanted to join social and personal services, brilliant. So we have two teams, two groups. Thank you very much. I think you'll have a more fruitful conversation if there's a few of you. It's easier to get ideas generating. So our overall big question that WorldSkills has asked us to think about is the climate emergency that we're facing today, and how might we support our employees to build a greener ecosystem, either within your organization or across your supply chain, depending what type of organization you are. So that's the big question to have in the back of our minds, but we thought it might be easier to focus it down a little bit to say, first of all, in terms of your challenge, thinking about the sector you work in, what is the real thing that you feel is the least green about what you do? So what is it that really bugs you that could be done differently? There's a problem that you think, wow, this really is not very good for the environment. So what I was going to ask you to do first of all is just in pairs. So if you're sitting with a close colleague, perhaps choose someone else as your pair. Just as a pair, discuss that question for 5 minutes. So listen to each other and then just jot down a couple of key ideas on the post-it notes. So think about what is that challenge, what's that least green aspect of your industry.
The idea is to have some briefing together. So I don't know if you work in let's imagine something, some hairdressers, the least green aspect would be that they put some chemicals in the sink. So something that is not green in your particular industry. What if you were in the education stage? I don't know, like generate waste. Or people cook. Yes, or transportation to the school.
Yeah, for example, community colleges in the United States, you may say we are having more potential consumption. You may say that for trade that you are teaching, there are activities coming from the 20th century. You may teach them for the 21st century, like mechanical engineers or whatever.
I think it'd be nice to give a bigger context. Green. Yeah. Because although I know most people look at it in terms of pollution and all that, that's not. But the other aspect I want to look at things that are changing our work life, humanity is also not green. You understand what I'm saying? So green, because natural man is usually an active person. So if I take a job where I sit down for 8 hours a day and not mobile, so I want to look at that as, anti-green, right? Yes. That's a context. Okay? Because you may know, but the manner in which they also, create conditions that make them unhealthy. So that is also on green, right?
Yes. So I think this, I try to touch base that topic. I think it's all about also attitude. And attitude and values should not get it when you are 18 and 20 in college. You get it when you know the primary school and maybe secondary school. So this is maybe the topic that you would like to address. So yes, when you say you are not green on behavior, the reason is that why you are not green because you didn't take it into account. So, but I think now the idea here is really to bring in your area of trying to go through this one.
The idea is that within the group we will choose one case and we will see in this particular case some ideas. The idea will be to generate ideas to solve this problem. So really what we want to do is to touch something. Yeah.
So when you have 1 or 2 ideas in your pairs, jot them down on the sticky post-it notes.
I give you an example. For example, Tommy typically that was not necessarily has been written the recipe series. A lot of these acids independent of farming because of its chemicals and all that. But now the question is, can we change the farming situation to make it more this is one aspect. And the other aspect is creating new products. For example, water technology. You're showcasing provide water technology. So, I think two examples, but I think
That's exactly the yeah, the point is that we share together some case, and then we as a group choose one case, and then we exactly see what we can do in terms of skills. Okay? I don't know if maybe the idea is with this design thinking that everyone should participate. So if you can just write one thing that is not green in your industry. Your business, what is not good.
Okay, could you now share on within your group your challenges? If anybody needs help with translation, please wave at us. But if you can share your challenges, perhaps put them on the flip chart.
After the goal is that we will choose one subject. Okay. No, I don't mind, not at all. Sorry. Energy consumption, yes. Very well.
There is, if you need like, they put it discuss loud, yeah? Yeah, so they're going to talk to yeah. But
The edge of the cafe.
yeah, we can do so. Because actually, an interpreter that is doing simultaneous can't do the consecutive one. I mean, we can't ask her to go here and to translate it consecutively. I mean, the interpreter. Yeah, sure. Okay, yeah, okay. No, no, I don't. Okay.
А? Ну да. Нет, ну теперь начинаю слушать, не надо то, что мне говорят. Чего? Чтобы приходился у нас переводник. Не надо телевизор включать. Нет, смотри. Сюда же вот с всех ходов. Ну тогда.
Okay, so have we all got the ideas together on one piece of paper now? A few more, minute or so more?
So we have like use bad translation. These are different sectors. Don't need. There's story. Yeah, just story.
But it's old or it's old? Exactly. Okay, that's fine. Okay. You wrote emissions or radiation from Wi-Fi equipment?
Yeah, now, I wrote it myself.
Yeah. So once you have the list,
This means that you put more radio in the environment. And every radio can be
a couple more minutes on time with your list.
The list is done?
You've done the list.
Yeah, the list is done.
Okay, thank you. If we've got a list, we're just going to pick one of these now as our challenge. So you may have a great long list, and that's brilliant, but just one that's of most interest to you in your group, one challenge or issue. So just perhaps get up if you need to read them and agree which one. And I'm giving our two lovely moderators the overall yes or no say if we can't decide as a group.
Yeah, and disposal of IT waste is kind of the same subject.
all your phones and
Finance. So you are saying that.
What you choose?
I'm from community college, so that's my industry, that's education, and I travel from one campus to another campus. We have 1,400 members, we represent 13 million Americans in the United States of America. So the tendency that I notice from coast to coast is the level of energy consumption. We're most of the time with 24/7. If your campuses, you serve themselves, that as well as younger generations. We have walls that are open. Wi-Fi at home, so they can the one I picked was childcare services. We're one kind of stop, and that's why we can kind of tons and tons of energy, which tries to be green. We have 35 buildings, solar batteries, still very high in terms of usage consumption areas we don't have.
Fine. And you choose using, yes, the use of already old cars.
I have to say that it was an experience for me in Cape Town in a hotel where I didn't have shower. I had, how you I had to clean myself and a little bit of water or something. So you say pollution.
Yeah, the dam.
Another one is the inefficiency of the drivers. They are using the car unnecessarily. They are pushing the horn and putting the accelerator. They are also encouraging for more release of emissions. So my recommendation is to develop this such a standard.
It's from you, so Russia, correct?
Where the attitude, behavior,
If you can explain your idea.
and also the technical aspect to be improved with some technical aspects for so that the emission of carbon is very reduced.
Okay. Yeah. So now we have to choose one subject. So, but maybe you would like to choose. I think everybody on each subject. So, would you like to focus on this paper on energy, on waste? It's quite interesting because we're touching the weight of each sustainable development.
Can
So
you
the
have that in
cycle
terms
of
of resource
resources.
waste?
So it's quite an issue of carbon emissions. So what do you would like to focus on as a group?
Resource, yeah.
Well, how about you decide? You're an expert.
And I think you have contributed that.
Yeah, the title was, yeah, we were supposed to. I think with all these digital things going on, I think we will face a lot of IT waste. And also we had two subjects think it's touch everybody because you use also a lot of IT. Training notes, you don't? No? Okay.
It's more relevant to disposal of IT equipment. It's the core problem.
No, you don't agree?
No, absolutely, whatever the collector decides.
No, I'm just thinking also you can add paper printing to that because the converse of that is online and electronic, so it's so the IT. So I think,
Disposal of
yeah.
Okay. That's fine. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So the skilled persons, those who will be engaged in IT, they must have the skill how it will be disposed.
And I asked
There will be a comprehensive.
So we can say maybe also more digital, there is something good, so we can do more digital.
The IT digital the knowledge and also the
But I think this will touch a lot of things because it's also about
environment as well,
day-to-day
beside the
with our IT equipment, how long we keep our IT equipment. Do we really need to have the last
operating industry, it's hard. Because we try about water, so we use a lot of water in different kind of industry, and then eventually just throw it away. And this is also like a pollution
industry
dimension.
you find the issue of
Yes.
like energy.
So there is a side effect, like just a low income of nature.
And also create awareness.
No
industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first thing. Yeah, so it takes through all of us.
So I think all of this,
All of this,
the
the first thing is
awareness.
awareness.
So that's fine. And I think also we should keep in mind all of this.
I just wanted to say that paper printing, to me, the IT, go back to the papers made environmental issues, environmental issues start there. So if you start with that in mind, and then you come to IT, good aspects about IT, but the audition device becomes obsolete. Now you come in and say, okay, instead of storing the device in a warehouse, you need to practice recycling. So it's going to create.
Me personally, I'm having a lot of conferences. I'm always okay, I can move on. Fine.
What is your opinion? What is your opinion? Do you think that this should happen at the age of secondary education, Tibet, or this is something that we should work on it maybe earlier?
Much earlier, not.
I think people are doing this topic of values and attitudes. So attitude, basically, I get my attitude when I'm 10, and I get my values when I am 6. Your mother. And what about another way? For example, the person who stopped me to smoke was my daughter of 6 years old. She said, this is not good. And what about children educating?
They don't think about attitude.
I mean, it's also something like that. Yes.
So the responsibility starts with that first person.
Yeah, so we are about to finish, so that's okay, that's that topic.
They think of the system,
Education,
how to dispose,
education, we just try to
teacher,
fill up.
responsibility.
And let's go through this, yes.
What like do with this? And the rest, people only in a system of safety, the system and then IT can. So I think that's the first thing, employees sense of awareness themselves. And they're just worried about what they need to do.
Yes, you're correct.
That's one of the things that we really one basic use the safety in the house. We also track the quality, but you cannot say that one is right away. So in your policies, yeah. Yes, but not so much, yeah. And even worse environment.
So you would say that everybody,
So in your system, we have environmental component as part of your quality. It must be
So, for example, if your organization has some computers that you want to dispose of, there could be an organization that would be happy to receive them. So if you donate our equipment to high school, whatever, that's why. Instead of just like throwing it away.
It comes back to your policy. So if the institution has a disposal, a policy in place that they donate, that's how we do it.
It varies from place to place, I'm sure. But it's about partnerships, it all goes back to who you work with, how you work with, if you're a good partner, if you work with the community, there's only so much you need, so it can be anyone, you can donate it to a church, any faith-based organization, the hospital, so who makes the decisions? Typically, the leadership.
Can I make an example?
Good. What is about your opinion the challenge?
We don't use
What is the key challenge?
and what we have to do is we just follow that. Yes.
Individual have one printer, every individual has one scanner, every individual has sound system.
Because it's part we should focus, trying to follow what she, the recommendation of this design thinking, and here we are following, we should focus on the employees, so I try to get in your discussion, who are the employees, not the hospital.
I also agree with you. One of the challenges in my college is there each one So what we've done now is there's a central office. And you know how it discomforts employees because now they can sit down and go. But eventually they go to the
They are purchasing huge unnecessary resources. Without using, sometimes they dispose it because there is space to design.
simple thing like making some cartons instead of throwing it free throw, yeah. That would be the idea.
This is the common denominator, right? This is the common
Okay, I know one group has already picked their challenge. This group, I think, is just about to pick their challenge. So thank you very much. Thank you especially to the people who are translating. Thank you. So now we're going to build some empathy. So thinking about the employee or a person that has this challenge. So imagine your challenge and imagine a person. So you might want to spend a couple of minutes thinking about the type of employee or the type of person that has the challenge. Give them a name so you can talk about them and a job title. So something about them to bring them to life.
We could imagine this entire primary and secondary. that this is a reform. Basically, your Minister of Education would like to reform the education for reading. So it will start, as you just rightly said, from the first grade, second grade, third grade.
It makes sense.
Well, you know, I don't work for a specific college, but I'll say in my practice, everything starts with literature writing. We don't have a passion.
Are you sector, roughly speaking,
Trickle down, so we can't expect a random
are you in
file
or you are in
person, mid-manager to become.
basic education, like general
What I
education?
think where it's a successful practice, it always comes from the top. It could be, you know, different.
Let's take, for example,
We
this
don't
is
have
what I
literature
was
writing
learning.
yet.
Let's talk about, if you agree, about students that is starting the secondary
Because you
school.
say
It's about
employee.
transition from
I
primary
see
to secondary.
leadership as an
And
extension.
as an educator, you know that the transition is always
In my case, so in my case, the employee.
So when you change the system, primary, secondary. So we are having a person, what would be their name? Like it could be
And the user below him,
John.
next to you.
And John is 12 years old and he's coming with no education in primary that waste is to be avoided, that energy is important, that water needs to be taken care of. And this person is coming to this.
Because the
Yeah,
leaders,
so basically, if you would like to create this empathy,
and then the users and the teachers.
also in terms of bringing that in the education system.
Or we can call this John, we can call this
Yes.
champion.
Yes,
It
this
could
is-
be
this is-
John
this
or
is
it could
us,
be
yes.
Jackie, but someone on campus who
Like
is
a quick list of
influence,
3 or 4
someone who can be
types
champion
of
of this
employees,
change.
3
You
or
don't
4
have
types
to be the
by
president or
designing and
CEO, it
selecting
can
one
be multiple managers, but not just rank and file person, but a champion of the cause.
Yeah,
Person who's passionate about it.
but they want to jump kind of thing.
Yeah, so just so that you all know who you're talking about.
Yes, I think you have 3 or 4 types of employees. You can take students.
Yeah, it's only so that the whole thing about design thinking is that when you then do it for real, you would go and watch John or Jack do their job. So all I'm saying for now is if you have someone in mind that all of you are thinking about, when you're thinking about them doing their job, it's easier because we're trying to make it as an example. Yeah. So if I was doing it, I would then sit with John for the day and watch what he did and watch when it came to disposing of the IT, how did he go through it. So that's all I'm saying. It doesn't just give an example.
And then what would be the
Employees, the school employees.
IT department, so I don't know.
Take care of the environment.
Yes,
Okay, so I think talking to both groups, you have a bit of an idea of your person or your type of person. So brilliant, thank you. Now, just spend a minute or so thinking about what it's like for that person. What's the challenge for that person? Think about what's the pain and what's the gain. So just a little bit of time to reflect individually. Then once you've done that, either as a whole group, because you're quite a small group, just think about those pains and gains and share them with each other. You may want to split into 2, half of you think about the negative, half of you think of the positive, what's ever easiest. So what I'm saying is, once you've got your person in mind, think about really what it's like for them trying to be part of that challenge, and think about it from the negative side and think about it from the positive side.
I want to make an example.
So maybe we can come to the previous one.
Yeah.
The previous street, you're on the right street.
I know much better
You're
about
already
it.
discussing that.
Because I'm trying to
Are you fine with the street, on the street?
John, imagine, is convinced that it's important to recycle. One of his difficulties.
Convincing others, how about?
Okay, school canteen.
Yeah?
School canteen, because of food topics.
Green IT.
Everybody
Green
say,
IT. Is the investor, is the champion? Somebody told him, you must do this in other things. Disposal of IT equipment is not in line with green budget. So that's John's responsibility. You must do this. So one of his challenges is what you just said now.
On your own, spend 2 minutes thinking about what might be like for this person, for those person, and how the challenge.
The teacher level.
So,
I
in your
use
mind,
the card.
just take the 2 minutes. Yeah,
John
for this
is the
profile.
person that's supposed to receive the card from you.
So which means one person, right?
All the side.
You think for your person,
He could
you can be for the board
I'm
or
very
one of
careful
them.
with the copies and empties. No, it didn't happen. Instead of following the system that we put in place, the system was the ink is up. You then check if you have exception and I will collect it. Yes.
Right, because they're just young, you know.
So psychology is convincing others, right?
Yes, that's true.
And what are the opportunities? You can give others psychology, but when you say others, because we were discussing
Yes,
leadership.
yes. I mean, we
Yeah.
talk about leadership, that was the challenge. Now the
It's
question
the
is,
teachers,
what
it's the change.
are the actions for the students, for the teachers, for the school employees?
There is this policy, how the IT is
Exactly.
can be disseminated to the managerial level.
It can. But if he or she does not.
But on both sides, gains and pains, that means gains means what to be gained by the work, by bringing the awareness to that person, but what is
And that's
also
the challenge.
opportunity, that
Yeah,
is
opportunity
where
is
do we
policy.
have the difficulties?
But challenge would be policy not follow. Yes.
Okay.
And that's why this is a good example of greening in any institution, even in private sector. One is the marble hero of that, but the other people.
Because John has accountability.
Yeah. No, he is accountable to,
That's an obstacle. He's
but
not
I am.
accountable, you think?
Exactly, yeah.
But he's accountable or he's
No,
not?
he is accountable, but I'm not accountable.
He's not accountable.
Keep track of the number of
Yeah, he's accountable to something. But guess who's not accountable? Me, the teacher.
we are not
I'm not
But
accountable.
what, for instance, why do you put all the equipment in a warehouse? What,
Because there's no policy.
why do you put them? Because you think you will reuse? Because there is no disposal? Because there is no partnership?
In organization, things should be driven by choice. If there is no, because for those equipment, they are considered as organizational assets. And you cannot just take any decision about organizational assets except there is a policy on how you dispose of it. How you obsolete them and then dispose of them. If the policy is not in place, then neither the IT manager
Yeah, you're correct. You may have thought about 1% or 7% from this work, so just contribute. We go one by one. Okay. So let's start with the student. We talk about awareness.
Sure, is it really me as a CEO of the company to say we should not have more than 5 computers in stock
So now,
and all of
there are
those
the
are
gain
being
and
decided?
pain.
I
So
mean,
we just
it's
take
also
it out of the
because
aim.
the policy,
It's the primary
put whatever you want in the policy.
So that means
I
that
have
the
this
first
also,
strategic
general, coming from my boss, is managing 200,000 people. And in the policy, it's written, we should reduce our impact on the environment. So I think also the policy should be adapted to which
But
level.
the policy
What would be your opinion?
there's always a reason why a policy originates. But at the institution or by government or
So it's top to bottom,
But
that's it.
you think it's really the responsibility of the president of the university
Let me make an example. We were talking about safety, health, environment, and quality. That is not something that one institution, that's a government thing. All over this world.
In large scale, there is a policy of the government.
Yes.
But in small scale, every institution will enforce with customization of these institutions. Then the IT manager will follow fully compliant.
There is no such thing as government in many countries, you guys realize that, right? So, like, the United States does not apply law. There is no such thing as government.
There's a situation.
Yeah, whatever happens, it has to be. That's what I'm saying.
How the company will do this. So, in the macro level, must be followed by the institution and CEO will enforce.
Yes, that was the
If the institution is not government, maybe the level.
Yes, if you don't know why, then you just do it like this.
correct.
It's very you just think for
You don't want policy bottom up. With somebody opinion making suggestions, saying what I propose.
That's why you have administrators, you have managers of different branches.
But for this to work, you have to have it top to bottom, for this to make it someone who has the power to actually enforce it.
Can I make an example again of my institution? I'm responsible for certain functions. I'm responsible for the policies.
So we say we can maybe make a project or something?
So what I do is, I'll give you the height of the
Project,
then it goes to the
let's call it project for life.
system, quality management, make sure all the relevant people have this policy, they can once everybody.
Competition, yeah.
Then goes to quality management. Only our principal can
Yes.
it is
Lifelong learning.
No, inclusive. So it takes, that's why I said, policy.
So long term, the benefits.
Long term.
So maybe we can say teaching home. Teaching home. Teaching home.
It should be a culture in the organization.
Or a girl.
Maybe we can move on.
This person.
If you think that we have another.
Legally enforce it through jobs.
Through John.
No, my teacher. Please.
I've been making this point since early morning today, the gentleman can come with
Always showing plastic away, right now.
Let's not stick to gender stereotypes.
Actually, you should be
Let's
role model.
put men in nursing and women in welding, or IT for that matter. So it's gonna be Jen.
By the way, my spelling is not very good and I can see it's a train. You can read whatever you
Well, we agree with that on the gender list for now, right?
but there is also separate. Okay, so what are the
Students.
So yes, we have to write what are the obstacles for him and what are the gains and opportunities. I think it's a lot of obstacles, some experiences. What are also the opportunities for him?
No, you could be John Taylor, John
You tried to change that policy. You didn't get it.
Okay, thank you. I've just had a chat with both of you. I think it's great that you both had a John, so probably you're both going to change your name now. You've got a Jan and a John. So we're going to now move into the really fun bit. We're going to take John and Jan's problem and we're going to generate ideas to solve that problem. So thank you for really putting your heart and soul into this. I know there's been lots of really interesting conversations here. So just let's all stand up, because normally we'd encourage you to go outside, have some fresh air. I can't do that. So stand up and stretch. And then the next thing is to get our heads, because we're going to generate some ideas. So I'm going to actually say to you, if you can, reframe your question now. So try to make a sentence so everyone knows what you're doing. So something like, how might we help John or Jan to do something so that there's a benefit? So how can we either help, support, enable John or Jan to whatever we want to do so that there's an outcome? And I just give you an example of a project I worked on recently. How could we help our railroad staff to be seen when they're working alone so they can stay safe? So just spend a couple of minutes writing that so everyone knows what we're generating ideas about. Yeah, so 5 minutes rewriting on a piece of flip chart. How can I help? How can we help John or Jan do something to have this benefit?
Could you flip to the previous one?
Like, you got it. Perfect. Change like the culture, whatever, so we want to just make a change, right? We don't want just to. Excellent. We want to have a broad.
The culture of his entity. Which culture?
Which culture?
Of his entity?
Yeah, but which culture? Which culture? Let's be specific.
You see the question? Change the culture of so that he can
Succeed. You know, be efficient, but to dispose of ideas.
So that he can. So how would be the question? Yes.
No, but that's exactly. Yeah, but it can be, we would put so that he can improve the environment, I would say. I just would change the culture because we have culture on because you want it to be more specific. Like,
Right, I mean, it's just so that. Right, but there's, okay, but it has to be like. Yes, be specific.
environmental,
In terms of what?
the green culture.
The green, I don't know if green is good, but yeah, sustainability. How about we use the word sustainability? A lot of times we're trying to use this word today, but. Environmental.
They used it a lot. Before.
And the word environment, how about that? How to change
So that's. Sorry, I didn't get it.
I'm thinking around
For now, I wrote how we can help Jen change the sustainability culture of the organization so that.
Must you put it exactly so that they can achieve their objectives.
Yes. What about you? What do you think?
They can achieve the objective to
So shift to the topic of awareness and how can we?
Yeah, no, these are all
That's the
words.
objective.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So
Yeah,
that
that's
we
the
can-
objective.
So that she can have a better lifestyle.
Reuse, recycle.
say reduce waste, you know, like what?
To reduce waste. We can.
To reduce IT waste.
They can reduce IT waste. Very good.
Now specific,
That's very specific.
otherwise you say waste.
So you're on the solution with,
Waste
so
management.
she was explaining the equation. The answer is that we could
I
do that.
think this is the most beautiful statement I've heard in my life.
So how are we doing? Have we got our question? Nearly? Yeah, the question.
We have one question.
Okay. So just before we come up with ideas, just remind you, I'm sure a lot of you do idea generation, but just a quick reminder, for idea generation, no judgments. So also don't judge yourself. If you've got a bit of a silly idea, a crazy idea, be brave to say it, no judgments. We love the crazy ideas because actually, if you have a dull idea, it's hard to put the inspiration in. If you have a crazy idea, it's easier to make it less crazy. If you want to, when you come up with your ideas, if you're better to draw it, then please feel free to draw rather than say, whatever works for you. Quantity, I'd normally say go for quantity, but perhaps today is however many you want. We haven't probably got time for a huge amount of quantity. And build on each other's ideas. So when you go back round the table, remember yes and rather than yes but. So try and build on people's ideas. If you don't understand it, ask the question. And stay focused on your topic. We started really broad. When you're doing your idea generation, stay focused on your how might we question, so that your ideas are really to solve that question, that challenge you've come up with. And when you're presenting back, one person at a time, to give each other a chance to listen to the ideas. So, just for a minute or so on your own, think about some ideas to solve the problem. So if you've got that how might we question written up, just on your own, give yourself a minute or so, think of some ideas, and jot them clearly on your post-it notes so other people could possibly read them as well. Okay, off we go.
So we agree. Just to go fast.
Okay, cool.
An idea how we can have challenges to sustain the green culture of the organization so that they can reduce IT waste.
So that she can
What can you write this?
Guilty as charged. Guilty as charged.
You started.
Something so that we bring it back to just one. Otherwise, we can talk about it.
Also cycle issues.
No, I'm saying that we're talking at the moment about the green. Whether the green man. Well, I have one. Do you want us to stick it there or somehow associate it with the green? Okay. One would never have any idea what we're talking about.
What about safe and right? To be a person that she can.
So mine is a reward.
Greener and white. Greener and white. environment for life.
Something like that. Because if you're
Okay, she will receive the training.
Might have a monthly or quarterly session on the policy of
I would say I must support Jen by complying to the IT policy. And second one, I must take responsibility to reduce.
So you are more precise.
Mine was also a bit on this.
Half measure,
Explain, to explain
greener environment.
French.
So you're thinking carrots and
Please think about yes for
Carrots,
race.
yeah.
Yeah, you are more American, I can get it.
No, you're right. Are you French?
Yeah, I'm French. That's why I said I'm French. Because my goal is that we improve the use of IT. We are very
But you know, for me,
Yeah.
it sort of narrows it. Waste control is not only organizational. And when we talk about that equipment, we are talking about equipment that I don't know how many million phones that we have in our house. Sure. These are all part of it. Everybody's going to phone, and every 2 years or so you change. And we don't come
Oh,
up with
yeah.
Or reusable. I agree, reusable.
You know, so, and if we begin to understand that, and then we change.
Yes, just put it, yeah, just say it to be cool to use reusable recipients.
And then
The third was, example, the school, for example, to bring one student down. What about greener students and greener, which makes a greener school, and green school, which makes a greener district, and a greener district which makes a greener economy.
you know, we spend too much time on and that is when we we sit together and don't talk together. Somebody in the US,
What about what we just go for a contest competition?
Yes, for those kids who are stimulated by that kind of
Contest competition.
No, I didn't, I have to go, I'm so sorry, you know, I'm supposed to meet my colleagues there. You know, it's a busy thing. You guys can carry on, I just have to meet my colleagues there, so sorry.
Yes, please.
Sure, absolutely.
like encouraging youth to separate waste or whatever. It's also like sponsoring from the government. Because you separated, but then we throw it away and the stuff should be, but then they collect it together. Yeah, we have that problem. So it should be from the government.
We have that problem. You can separate as much as you like, but when they connect them, they go together. You know, similar direction.
Okay, I can hear we've got quite a few ideas coming, but I've just been reminded that there's a reception at 5:30. So what I'm going to suggest is that you take one of your ideas, one of those ideas, and then you develop that further as a group. So I know this group has already got a few ideas. This group has definitely got some. Once you've got your idea, we're going to just create a storyboard as our example of a prototype. The storyboard is really simple, so don't panic if you're not good at drawing, but we'll give our lovely table moderators a break perhaps and ask one of you to volunteer to draw. So this little drawing on the side is the drawing for Uber. So it can be as simple as that. There's someone standing in the street, they need a lift, the car comes and off you go. So one half of the group chooses to draw the picture, the other half chooses to do 4 bullet points. So I know John here is a student at the school, so you might think about John going to the cafeteria. How does John be cool? So you're going to storyboard a solution for John being cool. One of them, yeah. I think over here we have Jen, don't we? So again, can we storyboard Jen? How does Jen dispose of the IT equipment? So draw it as a little storyboard with 4 bullet points, and this is what we're going to capture to give back to WorldSkills at the end. So this is just the last 10 minutes before we finish. Brilliant, thank you.
And then make a storyboard, like what you have to do. You want to do it instead so that Johanna, in this case, you want to be cool, so what?
How do you do storyboard?
How do we allow Johanna to show that she's
What is the English? So that's what the example that you said. So even the reward system, I'm thinking, how do you reward somebody when they are working in a defined way? Computer only lasts some.
For example, we can say,
unless you say to somebody,
use society.
yeah, this is software.
Information channels.
But now let's say, yeah,
to showcase
something is
behavioral change of students and make the important story Joanna
you say that way.
as a hero, as a student.
Let's say every we will give you
Now she's doing practicing it.
yeah.
And also want others to follow. She goes to the platform.
Let's say you're working with the department, it's the finance department. Any department will cycle a month will be rewarded with 2 extra in-cartridges that will not be against their budget. Something like that. Because they will not pay for it, it comes from other funds. Something like that. Yeah, that's how it is. So you're going to get, they know you didn't pay for it, you're not doing it.
Now we have to make fonts as simple as the one that you were.
Okay. So I'm thinking the first story
so
extra,
they collect at the same time.
something.
And if they
That's
do
a
that,
picture
they
must
will
be
be, and at the end, because
Yeah,
they
but
will
not
just,
the picture.
you know,
Because the
battle
first picture is you telling the,
basically it's a lot of effort to make it look
and the
very
second picture will be
and then you bring it, you know, you make an exercise, you make running on your Saturday morning or Sunday morning.
Okay, I can hear the beginnings of ideas, so a very quick storyboard, so we have something to show at the end. Four pictures, 4 bullet points, and then we're finished.
come let me try.
So maybe you can make a pictograms. So 4 pictograms to explain this story. So maybe you can explain
I'm
the
just
running.
writing.
You say running.
So it's like
Walking in the park. Maybe you make a pictogram. Some people running in the park. Yes. Maybe you can make a pictogram like being a hero.
I don't know how to put that in the picture.
One, third, second one.
an oval painted, but
Yes.
I don't know, it must be a
Maybe
poster.
you can
Yeah, let's say this is
change
a
like
poster.
that.
Yeah,
You can change like
You can start like that, and then we will see how.
yeah, that's a
It's
poster.
making this person known to the community.
It's awareness.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, a poster.
Like a poster.
Yeah, it's a poster.
In front of you. That's a copy.
Yes, this is good.
Ah, yes, right below.
Oh, okay.
That's what you want. Okay.
Advocating.
I am the champion.
Reduction.
like from side to side, and you will have a
Yes.
Something like that.
by switching from
Yes.
everybody uses like this one.
Okay.
And then second step now
Otherwise,
is,
it's called
okay.
Okay, that's a good choice.
Okay, someone has a.
Somebody with a printer nearby, and then nothing getting out.
Maybe some.
There's the IT manager.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, okay, that's
This is IT.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jen is also smiling, okay? That's the passage now, right? What you say, user? User.
Like that, the color, right?
Brings.
Bringing advantages to IT. Yes. Okay? And then what does this that means now? How do you put no, how do you put it's saving now, it's saving.
We run for a competition.
Like in this case now, it's introducing something as
Make
well.
heroes and champions. Yeah, that's a Joanna story, and we make it known to the society.
How do you say
Because
that?
the reward is going to be here.
He's cool or she's cool.
This year has an impact now. Positive impact.
Applause here.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so I will take a photograph of your wonderful boards. And if you want to, we can upload it to WorldSkills. I just want to say a big thank you to our 2 wonderful table hosts who actually have done an awful lot of work with you. So thank you very much. If any of you want any more help in future about design thinking, please feel free to contact us. We'd willingly chat to you. There's no strings attached. So thank you very much. Take a quick look at each other's boards as you go. This group looked at John, the student, and how to make him cool. Joanna, do you want to have a quick feedback?
People with their hands up, everybody
Group photo, good idea, group photo, okay.
Yeah, if you upload it on the WorldSkills,
Yeah.
it should be good with some photos.
Perfect, I'll come and take a photo.
So overall, I
And now I want to know,
And everybody happy. Jane, IT manager, the finance, everybody's happy.
Everything you
did you say this is IT? Okay, this is let's say
Teacher.
teacher man. Let's say it's a teacher. Okay. And teacher is happy.
I still want to go back to the class.
Thank